Right now we're at 738. New Orleans is getting a good reputation for starting a business. Lots of young people are coming here, starting everything from high-tech companies to restaurants and retail stores. Actually, entrepreneurship is nearly 60% above the national average here. So if you're thinking about starting your own business, there are a lot of legal potholes you need to watch out for. Here with more on that, and if you're thinking about a startup for a business, is attorney Timothy Scott with Fisher Phillips. And I asked you when we sat down, if you're starting a business, a lot of times people don't think about getting an attorney, but well, being an attorney, you're going to say it's a good idea. But I mean, what are the reasons it is so smart?
You know, it really is a great idea. You know, people have great ideas. They want to start a business around it, and they're so focused on building the business around that idea, they forget about all the different laws you still have to comply with.
Such as, what are some of the things that are the biggest potholes?
Well, we see a lot of issues with labor and employment laws. You still have to pay people pursuant to the law, and a lot of times businesses that are starting up will say, let's just try to be as flexible as possible. We won't pay people until we get running. And the federal government, state government have a problem with that.
And it's not so bad in other parishes around the metro area, but in New Orleans it still is. There's a lot of hoops to jump through if you want to start a business.
You know, we've got red tape here like any other city. Things can be sluggish. I think since the storm things have improved in that regard, but a lawyer can help you sort of maneuver through some of those hurdles that you'll face.
And a lot of those are at City Hall, and depending on the business you're starting, there are a lot of things you have to do and maneuver that process through City Hall.
You've got to know what kind of permits you need. You've got to know what kind of licenses you need. We do have some laws on the books that have been around for a long time that don't really reflect today's economy. And so if you've got an attorney to help you work through those things, it'll really make things go smoother. And
I can't remember what the figures are, but the figures for starting up a business and succeeding and failing are what, like 50-50 or something like that. In restaurant business, much worse. But with an attorney, does that help solve some of those problems?
You know, it will help, because you could have a great idea, you could have a great business, a great restaurant, but if you're not paying your people the right way, if you're not following the health codes, if you're not doing those things, you can be shut down, and you really have no recourse at that point.
And have you seen the change in your law firm with new business coming to you guys?
Absolutely. You know, sometimes they come a little bit too late. You know, they call us after they've gotten a visit from the government or an attorney who's looking to sue them. But we are seeing a lot more new business moving into the city and calling us.
And aside from labor relations and dealing with the city, what are some of the other big things that would be legal hurdles in starting a business?
Well, you know, it's really just knowing setting up what kind of corporation you want to be. You know, there's a lot of folks will go in there and just sort of put up a shingle and start their business. You have to think about the corporate form, because you'll get protection from that. You have to think about what sort of insurance you'll need to protect yourself, your own assets, and a lot of companies don't really do that.
And we're looking at some things on the screen. Set up a hiring process to recruit the best, conduct interviews, run background checks. That probably is a smart one to run the background checks.
You want to know who you're working with, and a lot of times we look at a resume, it looks good, we hire them. And we don't really look behind the resume. So running a background check is a great idea.
And let's take a look at some of these on the screen now.
Yeah, really one of the big issues that we see are payroll problems. There's really just one way to set up your payroll, and if you don't set it up right on the front end, you're going to get in trouble. Payroll taxes are a big deal. We've seen clients who collect the payroll taxes but won't remit them to the government, and that's a crime. And
there are state taxes, all kinds of other things. You know, starting a business isn't just, hey, they're paying me and I'm just putting it in my pocket and going off. I mean, there's a lot of detail work.
You've got to know where the money's coming in and what it has to be sent out to, and if you don't do that, you could be shut down very quickly.
And I assume, aside from an attorney, you would also suggest they get a CPA too.
Probably before you even get the attorney, get the CPA.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Timothy, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Starting next Monday, we'll be meeting some new entrepreneurs who are in the area and who went out on more than faith to make their dream a reality. We'll hear how they did it and their struggles and some of the setbacks, eventually how it turned to a successful business. Again, that's starting on next Monday.